Welcome to our third podcast. Today we're talking about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. I'm here with my podcast partner Naya. Now we haven't gotten to talk about this in a while, so today we're going to be talking about every single trailer and release for Pokemon Let's Go since Mega Evolution was originally announced. I think our first starting point is going to be with our actual series, the actual playthrough we're going to be doing. For now, Naya, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We had some craziness. This was supposed to be a full-blown series. We were supposed to do this, I don't know. There was going to be a schedule to it. I don't know if it was going to be weekly or not, but this was supposed to be a full-blown series, our podcast series. That got blown way off trail.
I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone when we understand that life happens.
That's true. Let's get right into it, though. The first thing I need to announce is our series. One of the things that derailed this podcast series may actually end up derailing our Let's Go series, and I really hate to say that because I was really excited to play it upon release, but I guess things happen.
Yeah, but you make it sound like we're never going to get to it.
That's true. We're going to get to it, that's for sure. So, for everybody out there, our official announcement is this probably will be a blind Nuzlocke co-op playthrough of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
I feel like we might not be the first ones to do it like we planned on, but I think it will still be a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah, I don't have to be first. Besides, we're probably going to lose and we'll be the second and third and fourth to do it. So, we're going to get a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a fun journey along the way.
So, first off, we're playing a game. This is just mind-blowing. We're actually super close. We're like 2 weeks away. And we're 11 days away. And what's really cool about this is, I'm just getting so psyched at playing Pokemon on TV. And I don't mean like Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon Stadium 2 back then or any of the spin-off games. I'm talking a mainstream game in 4K Pokemon. This is going to be awesome.
I still miss the Pokemon Snap game. That was a lot of fun. I wonder if this is going to compare to it and be better, or is it going to be about the same?
Well, this is a mix of the actual generational games as well as Pokemon Go, which Pokemon Go is our Untold Pokemon Snap sequel. That's what I always thought it was. So, to start off with here, let me just introduce. I am Nito Marquis, and this is Naya, and the reason I'm introducing us again here is where my expertise come in is I was an extremely competitive battler in Gen 3 and Gen 4, and I was a shiny hunter all the way back to Gen 2 as a little kid. And I'd say I've been around the ups and downs and every little detail of Pokemon up until Gen 5, where I somewhat retired. And then I came back to play Gen 7, Pokemon Moon, which, by the way, that's a whole nother explanation on its own. That's a detailed discussion I have about how amazing that was. And now I'm finishing up my blind Nuzlocke of Ultra Moon. Meanwhile, Naya, not as much experience in the department of Pokemon, certainly the nostalgia of it, but Naya has experience with audio editing and videography and things like that, as well as graphics and all the technicalities of it, while also being a gamer. So let's kick this off. The last thing we talked about was Mega Evolution. And I remember in our last podcast, we talked about the possibility of new Mega Evolutions. I thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce new Mega Evolutions, even if I was just really wanting to see Mega Nidoqueen and Mega Nidoking. Regardless, I thought it would be an excellent time for them to maybe slip in a couple Mega Evolutions, knowing that apparently, I didn't look into this too hard, but I've heard Gen 7, there were no new Mega Evolutions. Now they have announced, because when we did that podcast, they had not officially announced Mega Evolution. Now they have not only announced that, and that was over a month ago, but there are not only new evolutions, we knew that wasn't coming, but what we didn't know is that there's no likelihood of new Mega Evolutions. So let's start there. No new Megas, no new Evolutions.
I was really surprised at the fact that there is Mega Evolutions to begin with the Pokemon Let's Go. I thought it was going to be like a really clean, simple game, and then I saw the Mega Evolutions take place in battles.
Yeah, so I remember it is already confirmed at this point there are no new abilities. Now, there were a bunch of people that released gameplay because there were early releases of this to larger YouTubers and personalities and such. I didn't watch them, but what I did know is that their summary of it said there are items, and it's double confirmed because, and we'll get to this later, in the Master Trainers trailer it said no items available. We knew there were no abilities. There are items. I think what this is going to do is it's going to change up the meta of the game for sure. I mean, a ton. No abilities, but there are items.
What do you think some of the items are going to be? Are they going to be traditional items, or are they going to be new ones that are foreign to us?
I'm sure that they're going to have all the well, they're going to have an assortment of items that we knew, like going back as far as I don't know, berries, quick claws, things like that. And I'm just off the top of my head, but I think any of the items that are going to be introduced, which they have said there are new items coming, but I don't think they said anything about what they are specifically. I don't remember seeing anything about that, but with the new items, anyways, I would say that if they do introduce new items, just don't make it too OP, and don't just center this on Eevee and Pikachu too. I mean, from a competitive aspect, I think it's going to be really interesting watching people kind of in a way get to PvP in Go like they wanted, but more importantly that we're going back to Gen 1 and changing up the meta. I think it's going to be competitive. It's going to be different competitive.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling as though I'm going to be avoiding the internet for the first maybe month when Pokemon Let's Go come out, because I've been waiting years for Red Dead Redemption 2, and I've been watching videos pop up on YouTube about people playing it, and I definitely don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want any spoilers of Let's Go. And here's the thing. At this point, I've made it abundantly clear that the ultimate spoiler for me is if Professor Oak comes back past the champion as post-game to battle you. That would be the ultimate spoiler for me, and I feel like if anybody cares about me out there, you're going to let me know that Oak is in the game. But if I don't get to it first, if we do have to delay our series by a little bit, say 2-3 weeks, then hopefully I'm not going to learn of Oak being in the game. If he is, I hope he is. I really do. I guess that'd be a spoiler. I'd be happy. That'd be a welcome spoiler.
I think what I'm really excited for since watching the new trailers is the fact that you can battle one-on-one Charizard times Charizard and try and get the title of, what was it,
Master Trainer.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm going to jump on that as soon as I can.
Didn't you see my Twitter? I'm already the Nidoking Master Marquee. At least, self-given title. That's one of those things of, I'm the leader. Who made you leader? Me. It was the first thing I did as leader.
Yeah, you gotta earn it.
I'm gonna earn it. Are you kidding me? I wrote the book on the competitive aspects for Nidoking. Now, there are a few things here that I wanted to discuss, so let's get right into a little more discussion here. Differences and similarities to Gen 1. So at this point, we have Celadon City, we had Cerulean City showcased, and we got Lavender Town for Halloween, which was amazing. I really like that, and that's where I'm going to start. So first off, you saw the Lavender Town, the trailer, and you heard the music, you saw the trainers. Now I have to say, they really captured the creepiness and the spookiness of Lavender Town. If anybody thought that, and I saw this a lot, people thought that it would be dumbed down or softened, it would be toned down to accommodate kids nowadays, is they wouldn't make it as creepy or make people look possessed. I think they captured the vibe of Gen 1, but put it in 4K perfect.
Wait, now can you really blame people for thinking it was going to be soft and easy because of the moves with Splishy Splash and Buzzy Buzz? Come on.
So, everything has their faults, and if we want to jump around into that trailer, Splishy Splash and Buzzy Buzz OP, just saying. Either way, regardless of that, I do think, those names were a miss. There are a lot of hits in this game, that was a miss. However, sometimes loving a game series is about compromise and in forgiveness. And then in this case, both of those, compromise and forgiveness, is, okay, it's called Splishy Splash. I'm going to get a good laugh about it, and then I'm going to move on.
I don't know if I have forgiveness just yet. I have to figure out how much I enjoy the gameplay first.
And I don't mean to jump around too much here, but as long as we're talking about that, Splishy Splash, Buzzy Buzz, and signature moves that you get by waving the Joy-Con, they really are trying to make Pikachu and Eevee viable and OP, to be honest. In fact, I think, if anything, giving those moves to Eevee and Pikachu, they're trying to force them into competitive and good use. Either way, so immediately I thought, going back to the Lavender Town thing, it's not just Lavender Town that's good, but I think the gym battles that we've seen, I think the game corner, for instance, I think they made good use of the game corner. They didn't completely omit the game corner. They revised it into an arcade. I mean, we knew that was coming, but I'm really glad that they are doing what they're doing with half of this stuff because you can hear the original scores for the music. They haven't they haven't made things overly complex. They haven't added or taken out things that were nostalgic. They really are doing what they said they were going to do back in June. Capture the essence of Gen 1 with the added effects of all the other generations and Go and really modernize it. That's my opinion overall. How about yourself?
I'll be honest, I just can't get over the moves, the names that they've used, and granted, they don't look childish, the move set, but I just can't get over the names that they used for the moves.
I don't think anybody's ever going to argue with you that those moves, that those names don't. How do I say this nicely? They missed the mark. Those moves have terrible names, and I don't think anybody. I haven't heard anybody go against that opinion. I mean, it's comical at best.
I agree with you that it is cool that they used 4K, but at the same time, that's kind of pointless to me because I just can't get over how silly they've made Pokemon moves come out to be in this game.
So I'm going to try to persuade you on this one, and hear me out.
Good luck.
So first off, for instance, Eevee flying on the balloon is a throwback big time to, remember Pokemon Yellow, the intro where they had Pikachu surfing and then they had Pikachu flying on balloons? Well, you couldn't do that in Pokemon Yellow, but they're doing that now. And as much as that may seem cartoony, let me try to persuade your opinion on this one. First off, when you go to Cinnabar Island in this game, you're going to be surfing, literally on a surfboard with Pikachu hanging 10 at the end of it. And if you don't do that, you're going to be doing your best impression of the movie Up and flying on a I don't know what that thing is supposed to be. It looks like a swing set. And you're going to be flying high above Kanto with an Eevee. And you probably aren't going to be able to control that thing. But they have to let you control it. Realistically, they wouldn't be able to. But, let's get past the fact that it's a little cartoony. Let's get past the fact that, yes, it's very much childlike. And try to enjoy that you're going to be surfing for real. You're going to be battling in 4K. And without abilities, I mean, it's taken us back to a little bit of a simpler time. But not only that, you can literally take what was on your phone and link it up to that game and use what you caught on Pokemon Go to add to Let's Go the experience.
Yeah, I will admit that since we started doing this podcast and I started looking into more and more information about Pokemon, I am getting a little more excited about playing it. I've even downloaded Pokemon Go again, and I've started doing that. So I'm kind of looking forward to and kind of eager about adding my Pokemon from Let's Go, or adding my Pokemon from Pokemon Go into Pokemon Let's Go.
I agree. They're doing their best to interact this thing and make it a system, and it's all portable now. I mean, obviously you can take your Switch on the go, you can take your phone on the go, you can link it up with your friends. Just think back in the day. Look how far we've come. If you wanted to play Pokemon on your TV, you had to have Pokemon Stadium, and you threw it on the back of a cartridge of what was like a linked up Rumble Pack onto your N64 controller to play it on Pokemon Stadium, which was it was an emulator right in front of your eyes, but it was an official emulator with your game. Now, you're playing a game that was designed for a system that is hooked up to your TV, and while at the same time you can coordinate with your friends online or in person. You didn't have to use link cables. I do think where they're definitely wrong is they keep showing all these kids playing at school. You think the parents are really going to let them take their $300 Nintendo Switch to school? We took our Game Boys to school for two reasons. One, they were indestructible. Two, they cost like $50. Not 300. So I don't think that's going to happen, but everything else will. All right, so another thing I wanted to talk about is going back to our old podcast, podcast number 2 there, was I had said something about shinies, and I wanted to touch on this, not to deviate over to Pokemon Go, but remember in the last podcast I talked about Digimon, so yes, I can deviate as much as I want. One thing I wanted to talk about was shiny hunting and natures in Pokemon Let's Go. Let's start with natures, because I just found this out like 10 minutes before the podcast started, was that the natures can be altered on your Pokemon, or predetermined, I forget how it works, via a fortune teller in Lavender Town. Isn't that kind of weird that now we can, and this is what's cool. Let me start from scratch on this. They want you to be able to alter the nature on your Pokemon to the most favorable nature. I don't know if that's for what you're going to catch or what you've already caught. That goes hand in hand with Masuda, who is the director of Pokemon, of course, who had said something about, and this got a little controversial, he had said that he didn't want Pokemon to be simply hatching thousands of Pokemon. The reason he was saying that, he wanted things to be appreciated for what they are, and the design of the game, and the design of every single character and every single line in the game, every little man-hour that goes into it. He didn't want people to boil it down to just hatching the best Pokemon possible, and then having the best stats possible and calculating everything out, and then using those to fight each other. So, the reason I like that is because I hatched those eggs. And it's easier now than it was before, but man, I hatched those eggs and hatched them and did the math. I would like nothing more than to see that this game highlights more about the gameplay, focuses more on the gameplay, and then when you're done with the game, it has the post-game, which we'll talk about, and then when you're done with that and you're ready to fight your friends and have good battles, you can make the best team possible quickly. They are making it easier to make the team you want on the spot. That way you don't just run to cheating or emulators and just program in what you want exactly the way you want it. And you can kind of take the focus off of that and actually enjoy the experience and have fun and interact with your friends. The next one I wanted was shinies. And the reason shinies come up is I said something inaccurate last podcast. I do want to correct that. My opinion has shifted a little bit. I also want to express how community days, now that I've participated in a number of them, really bring out a lot of people, rural and in the city, and really bring a lot of people out together, from kids to adults and everything in between, and how that relates to Pokemon Let's Go. So for starters, the thing I want to correct is, last podcast I had ranted a little bit about how many shinies I've caught. I've caught hundreds and hatched hundreds of shinies, tons of them, and again, all the way up to Gen 4. The reason I wanted to talk about what I said in the last podcast is because in the last podcast, I had mentioned that I thought they were making shinies really, really easy. I just kind of blew it off like, yeah, they make shinies super easy to achieve nowadays, obtain in Pokemon Go. Now, Let's Go, I'm not really sure how it's going to work, other than we can't see we can see they have sparkles in the overmap, so it's easier to see them because it's not just random encounters in the grass anymore. But in Pokemon Go, they hand out shinies, and I said it was easy, but I actually need to back up on that. So I want to make the case for shinies here in Pokemon Go, and there's a really good reason for this. I had said, oh, it's easier and all that, and of course I told you that already. The reason that it's easier is because that the community days just give them out. And for rural players, it's a lot harder because we don't have as many options as city players. I may have been a little wrong about that, and thinking about it, this is exactly why. In Gen 2, if you had a shiny male already, i.e. the red Gyarados that they give you for free via storyline, and you bred that with another Pokemon, the odds of having a shiny egg, or in your egg, were like 1 in 80, which is nothing. You could sit there and, 20 minutes, you got a shiny. On top of that, Gen 3 had something similar. You had what is deemed the Masuda method, which knocks your odds down. You have the shiny charm, not modern day, which knocks your odds down. And knocks your odds down. And then you have the radar chaining, which is slightly more difficult. I consider that a little more difficult, but not as time-consuming as soft resetting. Actually, that's probably the most skill is with radar. And then now we have things like shiny Poipole, which are handed out for free. Back in the day, 10 years ago, you had to drive to GameStop and download your shiny wirelessly. Is that really so much harder than capturing a bunch of Pokemon over and over and over and having to actually run around? And thinking about it, it's like, you know what? Maybe gifted shinies in the games, maybe the odds changing in the shiny charms, and let's be honest, there was a glitch in Gen 4, the cute charm glitch, which caused almost every other Pokemon to be shiny in the entire game. Were these things really so much harder than Pokemon Go? I think, honestly, it probably balances out. Pokemon Go releases one shiny every month, and yeah, it's kind of a freebie, and it's a real hot shiny, like, I think they're going to release Ralts, that's my opinion, eventually here soon as a community day, but Metagross and the starters. If you want another shiny, I mean, some of them are shiny locked right now, which I don't agree with, but nonetheless, I mean, there's almost no way to hunt it other than just running around or, I guess, driving around, so I kind of changed my opinion. I'd say that shinies aren't as easy as I thought in Pokemon Go.
Wait. We don't promote driving and playing on your phone.
Of course not. You have somebody in the passenger seat playing their game and yours. Wouldn't that be so crazy to actually drive around and play Pokemon Go? All of that aside, 20 minutes before the start of this podcast, I caught a natural shiny Pinsir on my Pokemon Go game, which was amazing because I'm like, that was the first time I ever caught a natural shiny. And Naya, you caught a shiny Swablu, right?
Yeah.
And it was a natural shiny months ago, and I'm thinking, what the heck? She just found it out of nowhere. I'm like, what the heck? I'm the shiny hunter here. I deserve this. And I've kind of condemned Pokemon Go because I missed out, of all things, I missed out on shiny Nidoqueen. Who deserves that more than me? I missed out on shiny Gengar, shiny Metagross. I didn't find a single Beldum, so I've missed out on my fair share of shinies. And that kind of puts it in perspective that they weren't failed shinies. A failed shiny means you found it. I didn't even get that far. So maybe Pokemon Go, I'm kind of regressing my shiny statement in that a little bit. Which leads me to my next point to tie it in here. I don't think Pokemon Let's Go is going to be quite as easy as people are saying it was going to be. In fact, I think they're actually building up the difficulty a little bit. Not only that, but they just released not long ago the Master Trainers. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. I even mentioned that before. I was excited about trying to get all of the titles.
I would like to see Let's Go all the way to Gen 4 now because I think everybody here agrees, anybody that listens, anybody that in general that's a Pokemon fan agrees that the title of Master Trainer, I should say Bidoof Master Trainer, is legendary. In fact, it's almost holy. Meltan and Melmetal. Let's get into that because that was a huge unveil. This is the strangest way they've ever unveiled a new Pokemon. In fact, there were people that were completely shocked that Meltan was even a real Pokemon. When it was unveiled, it was leaked originally, sort of. I don't know. I doubt it was planned. I doubt that they wanted the leak to happen. It was data mined. What they wanted to happen was, poof, it just starts showing up. What the heck is this little guy? Meltan kind of had a weird design, had a weird release, and I think they're taking a huge risk when they did that. Just like this entire game, they're taking a risk, and I love it. Meltan was this adorable little amalgam, and I say amalgam, that's what a lot of people have agreed on. There's no proving. Amalgam specifically refers to mercury. I don't want to go scientific on you, so I'll just skip that, but Meltan, nonetheless, it was supposed to be a corrosive Pokemon. It corrodes metals. That's how it grows, that's how it eats. Then they came out with the series, and they came out with Melmetal, which honestly it should be Melmetal. I think that sounds better. Nonetheless, in this series, the professors, Willow is talking to Oak, and Willow says that Meltan melts things like his equipment and melts metals. So, Willow, first off, you gotta be the worst professor ever, because basic facts, man, he didn't melt anything, or it didn't melt anything, it corroded. Second thought, Oak, why are you being like this? Oak used to be awesome. He was really cool. Now he's withholding information from his coworkers. Why? That's like what the senior person does to the newbie. Willow discovers, oh my gosh, they evolve into Melmetal. Look at this amazing evolution. I wonder what we should call this thing. And that's when Oak unveils, oh yeah, I already knew about that in the text. Melmetal. Yeah, no, big discovery there. It's just cool to see it. Oak would not withhold information from his coworkers. I don't like what they did with his character like that. That was kind of dumb. And I guess my last thoughts are the actual design of Melmetal. When I thought of Meltan evolving into a giant monster, I kind of thought of a slow process, or a slow and calculated Pokemon. And what I mean by that is that Melmetal rather, would take down, let's just say, a Steelix, alright? Large steel Pokemon. And Melmetal would be calm and calculated, and slowly corrode this thing from the outside in. Instead, they gave him 2 giant fists and said, here, go punch him right in the face. And plus, they said he's 3,000 years old. There's a lot of connections going on here to Meltan. I know Melmetal, I think he was referred to in another language, like his name is synonymous with Mercury. Nonetheless, there's a lot of ties they're making with Melmetal. It isn't just they threw it out there, but his design, or its design in general, not what I thought it was going to be. What'd you think of Melmetal?
I can't stop laughing because I thought the same thing you thought, was that it was gonna corrode or, but I didn't think it was gonna come up and punch the crap out of you. But that brings up something else that I showed you on YouTube actually, with the hit yourself in confusion, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a good find. And it was, what was the Pokemon?
Hitmonchan. So, you know what? If I could make a GIF meme about, I'm sorry, I just said GIF. A GIF. If I could make a GIF meme about this, It would be Melmetal confused. And I'm talking Melmetal is like 8 foot, 9 foot tall, something like that. It'd be like Melmetal hit himself in confusion. And it would just be him with his big, giant, burly fist going, bam, ow, right in the face. Because that's what he is. Like, at first, my comment was Meltan, who was like he was like 0.8 inches tall. And Meltan weighs like 30 pounds or something like that. It's like, wow, that's a really dense Pokemon. But if you stack it up against a Steelix, for the same height as Steelix, 300 Meltan or whatever it was, don't weigh as much. Now we have Melmetal, and it's like, okay, he weighs a lot. He's very dense. I get that. And he evolves completely different from everything else. And this is what's confusing me. One Magnemite single-handedly evolves into 3 of them connected Magneton. You have Wishy-Washy, Schools. So it looks like 500 Wishy-Washy come together and form this giant monster. Oh, who else? A Dugtrio, for instance. A single Diglett evolves into a Dugtrio, and it sprouts 3 heads on a mole's body is what I imagine looks like under that hole. Melmetal is 100 Meltan or so coming together and actually forming another Pokemon through evolution. That's actually a brand new evolution method. Either way, so Melmetal I'm going to have to get used to. To me, it actually has the same stance as Registeel. I don't know. I really don't know what they were going for with Melmetal. I'm going to give it a chance, but this is like they are crutching on Melmetal and Meltan to promote this game. This is the new Pokemon. This is brand new, regardless of any argument about what number in the dex Melmetal is going to have. It just seems like they are taking a massive risk, and I'm impressed at the risk they're taking. That's why I don't want to hate Melmetal too much. Meltan was adorable, and I loved the corrosion mechanism of its entire being. Melmetal just punches you in the face. I mean, it's a big burly Pokemon. I'm not sure how much I like that, but especially as the forefront of this, and it's a mythical Pokemon. I don't want to hate it for that very reason, so I'm okay with Melmetal, actually. Sort of. So, either way, I'm looking forward to it. We've got 11 days left. I don't know if we're going to podcast again between now and then about Pokemon anyways. I know that we're going to try and get our series up and going, talking to many aspects of the games. One in particular I mentioned was Digimon. I'm looking forward to that too. And, who knows? Maybe we'll get some discussion going about other games here soon. But for sure, Pokemon Let's Go coming out. I would love to get it on release. And if we do a blind Nuzlocke of that, like I say, maybe we'll be the first co-op blind Nuzlocke, and the second and the third and the fourth. Who knows? All I do know is that I did not get a shiny Nidoran, and so I would have given you that shiny Nidoran so we could recreate that scene of us walking down or running through the hall with Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Either way, last thoughts?
You almost hit me in the face. For those that can't see, he just spun the mic around and almost hit me in the face. I don't have any other comments. You can take it back.
Behind the scenes, a little spoiler there. We are not doing this via Skype. We are not doing this via Discord. We are doing this via arm's length. And I spun the mic and almost whacked her in the face. So you can see we're going to work together brilliantly for Pokemon Let's Go. Isn't this going to be great? You are going to, so since we've already seen you can go 2-on-1 with the co-op or battle, I don't know, I'm assuming double battles are still a thing. So you are going to work great for me when I don't want to lose a Pokemon, so I switch out and you do the attacking and they all gang up on you and take your Pokemon out, which kills it in the Nuzlocke, while I'm safely switching into my next choice because I don't want to lose anybody. That's how this Nuzlocke's going to go, I can already tell you.
You just wait and see.
I really hope that's not what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure we're doing a blind Nuzlocke, so this is going to be great. Either way, I'm pretty much done. I think that's it. That's all I've got to say, and if there's any last thoughts, like I say, without hitting you in the face, we can sign out on this.
I'll control the mic from now on. No, I'm pretty much good.
And that's that. So, you know what? From this point here, all I got to say is I'm going to make like a procrastinating Pokemon trainer and catch you later.
Thanks for listening.
Take care.